10-year-old Juan woke before sunrise. He didn't go to school. He hauled bricks up scaffolding beside his father. His small hands were covered in wounds and calluses. His father would sigh and say, "I'm sorry, son.
I wish I could let you be a child." But Juan would smile. He was learning his first financial lesson, selling time for pennies. On those scorching days when the sun burned his scalp, he saw something others didn't. The other workers, the moment they received their meager daily wage, would rush to the first shop and spend it all on cigarettes, alcohol, and fleeting pleasures. They wanted to forget that day's hardship by nightfall.
But Juan wouldn't spend a single coin of his wages. He'd watch the workers and think to himself, "You're spending money earned with blood and sweat to escape reality, but I'm saving these coins to build a new reality." He learned that wealth begins with the power to say no to small wants. Every brick he lifted wasn't just a piece of clay in his mind, but a step toward the green grass of a stadium. In the evenings when the sun faded, Juan would run to the dirt pitch. There was no grass, no goalposts, just dust and stones. His ball was a cloth sphere wrapped with thread, but to Juan, it was more precious than gold. He practiced at night under the neighborhood's only streetlight. Neighbors said he'd gone mad, but Juan knew he was investing in his only asset, his own skill. He understood that in the real world, you earn money in proportion to the problem you solve, and he wanted to be the best problem solver on the pitch. Years later, the moment Juan had built in his dreams arrived. A local coach who'd spotted his talent took him to the luxurious office of one of the city's professional clubs. Juan had shone in the trials. He ran through defenders as if he commanded the wind itself. But when it came time to finalize the contract, the atmosphere in the room shifted. The club director, seated behind a polished, expensive wooden desk, pushed a form toward them without looking up. With a gold pen, he underlined a figure: fees for kit, insurance, equipment, and entry. That number was just an administrative detail to the director, but to Juan and his father, it smelled of every brick they'd moved over the past 10 years. Juan's father, with hands that trembled faintly from years of labor, quietly reached into his pocket. He pulled out a small cloth pouch and emptied it onto that gleaming desk. The sound of a few blackened coins and bills, so crumpled they barely unfolded, echoed through the silent room. His father, in a voice barely audible, said, "This is everything we have. I'll find the rest somehow." The club director glanced for a moment at those meager coins lying like an awkward patch on his expensive desk. He pushed the coins back with the tip of his pen, as if afraid they'd soil his surface. Then he looked up with a cold stare and said, "I'm sorry, this isn't a charity. Rules are rules. Without this money, you're not even allowed in the dressing room." Professional football is for those who can afford its costs, not for someone who can't pay for his own socks. Juan looked at his father's empty hands, now locked on his knees. It was then he first tasted the bitter flavor of the Capitol Wall, a wall taller than any goalpost in football. On the walk home, a heavy silence reigned, broken only by the sound of his father's worn shoes hitting the asphalt. His father suddenly stopped, looked into Juan's eyes, and said in a trembling voice, "Son, tomorrow I'll sell my tools. That grinder and drill are the only things I earn bread with, but you have to play football." Juan's heart clenched. He knew selling the tools meant certain hunger for the family. He grabbed his father's rough hands tightly and said firmly, "No, Father, don't sell your tools. That director thinks that because we don't have money, he owns us. But I promise you, with these bare feet, I'll play so well that one day they'll line up to sign a contract with me." He returned to the dirt pitch and multiplied his training intensity tenfold. He realized that when you have no money, you must build your personal brand so powerfully that investors come looking for you. One rainy evening, an expensive car stopped by the dirt pitch. A scout who'd lost his way stared at a boy performing magic in the rain with a torn ball. He stepped forward and asked, "Ready for the world to learn your name?" Juan was ready. He'd been paying for this opportunity with sweat and blood for years. But entering Europe wasn't the paradise Juan imagined. In the early months, he was just a foreign benchwarmer. Opportunistic agents constantly circled him. One proposed, "Sign this 10-year contract. I'll give you a fancy house right now, just in exchange for 60% of your future earnings." Juan didn't have money in his pocket for a proper dinner. It was a huge temptation, but he knew this was a financial trap. They wanted to buy his future cheap because he was desperate today. Juan rejected all offers and chose to sleep in a cold room but remain owner of his dreams. When he signed his first major contract, unlike others, he didn't go for luxury cars. He sent the first check to buy a safe home for his parents. He didn't fall into lifestyle inflation. The day before the big final, Juan returned to that same half-built construction site where he once carried bricks. He bought the entire area and told the workers, "This is no longer a brick quarry. This is going to be the country's largest free football academy. I bought this land so that no father ever has to sell his work tools to register his son." Finally, the day of the final at Lusail Stadium arrived. In that decisive moment, Juan stood behind the ball. For a second, he closed his eyes and replayed all those hard years. Then he shot. The ball struck the heart of the net with a thunderous sound, and the stadium erupted with joyful roars. But Juan, amid that chaos, only stared at his feet. Those same feet that once ran through dust and stones had now turned the pages of history.